Dr. Melih Demirtas is with us, who is an expert on geopolitics, and he's a former diplomat as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Melih, for joining us. We are in a situation where, at one hand, Pete Hegseth yesterday in Congress said that they are winning the war. And the way they are framing it is that as if it's a big hit. However, the Democrats say, how is this a big hit and a victory when it's just a blockade against the closure of Strait of Hormuz and there is a stalemate? At the same time, there is a legal piece. The 60-day war power clock is running out, and Donald Trump needs endorsement at some stage from the Congress. On the other hand, we have Khamenei saying that we are going to fight it till the end. Where do you see this war going?
Thank you, first of all, for the invitation in these critical times again, also for the valuable, maybe, role of Pakistan, brother Pakistan. I think from the side of Turkey, it is also so valuable to see an important country, regional power, I mean, Pakistan, in such a complicated times of this conflict. It is complicated because, as you said, the inner politics, I mean, the domestic situation is also so complicated, both, I think, in the United States, but also we know that in Iran, different kinds of problems because of the structure of the regime, also domestic opinion and protests are always the reality in Iranian inside politics. But from the side of the United States, first of all, we must start, yes, as you said, the cabinet of Mr. Trump is also seems from the beginning of this war, actually from the beginning of the hard power rhetoric of Israel, because we do not forget that everything started with one actor's one-sided or unilateral aggressiveness. Also, this side must be remembered always as Israel. And after that time, we also see that the rhetoric of Mr. Trump and his cabinet, first of all, Mr. Hegseth, I mean, Minister of War, first of all, maybe we can start from this also name of this changed name of this cabinet. I mean, because it is not anymore defense, it is now war. And Mr. Hegseth just made it very clear that they're always the winning side. But I think there is important question mark, especially from the side of these actors. I mean, from the side of Turkey, for example, from the side of also Russia, also even China and the other actors, also these states in the Gulf. So Iranians really uses this time efficiently. They uses, I think, they also diplomatic power in this region, both I think with Turkey, also with Pakistan and some other actors, also with Russia. Think about the last visit of Mr. Arakchi, foreign minister, to Moscow. And vis-a-vis this Iranian maybe regional power, we can say that United States every day seems to be much more outsider. It is geographically outsider, we know that, but in this recent history of United States, we saw this failure of United States also, like in Iraq once, in Afghanistan, and now in Iran. They really struggle to make them, I mean, much more legitimate. But I think this policy cannot work, especially with this unilateral understanding, like we see, first of all, in Israeli side.
You're sitting at an intersection of what is the East and West, being the Turkey, the country that you belong to. You see the aggression and the expansionism that Israel is expecting to be carried on in 2026. They say it openly. This is election year. Netanyahu is not going to sit back and just see this war ending. At the same time, US president is giving Israel a cover. They are presenting it as their own war. Do you think, even if there is some framework agreed between Iran and US, a shadow war that continues in the Lebanon, in Syria, and in West Bank and Gaza, that is still going to continue, and unless and until that is resolved, the problem remains the same?
Possibly. You really mentioned and underlined an important point. Since we always think from the beginning of 2000s, I was a young IR scholar in 2001. Maybe you also remember very unfortunate event of 9/11. After that date, I think with this new millennium, we also see that the world cannot remain as it is now in Cold War times, maybe in 19th century, and everything's changed so suddenly. Please remember these 9/11 events and what United States took after that date in many countries, starting from, of course, Iraq, Afghanistan, but it doesn't stop there. And of course, in parallel or in line with United States rhetoric, we see the same maybe line of this constructive maybe understanding of constructed understanding of this diplomacy or hard power rhetoric of Israel. They of course had another unfortunate event, which is this of course Hamas-led massacres. I mean, they also took this point, important starting point of their maybe rhetoric, to make maybe aggression to innocent people, I mean Palestine. We cannot deny this is a genocide with the United Nations independent reports. But after that date, yes, as you also underlined, now the new aggression policy is just directed to Lebanon. The last report said that nearly 3,000 people, just in this short time of Iranian war, 3,000 people, maybe saying it now.
It's as if under the cover of Iran war, they were just doing whatever they had planned already. Already.
Unfortunately, as you said, East and West. This is important rhetoric, but we do not maybe want to underline anymore. East and West, yes, in the history, in the timeline, as Pakistan, as the other countries, they also see this rhetoric many times, but I think we must also exceed this rhetoric. Because West uses, I mean, so-called West uses this always with some understanding of Orientalism, with the famous words of scholar Edward Said, but they also always derive some new powers with this civilized understanding. But I think Turkey is already full of this rhetoric, and we can say that yes, we are combining these different opinions, but already West lost already credits with all this war, especially since this 9/11 events.
Dr. Melih, I was looking at Khamenei's statements, and it said that the Iranians will protect the nuclear and missile programs as national capital. This is something that is new to me, because before this, let it be GSCPOA, let it be any kind of verification from IAEA, Iran has always been very cooperative. But being attacked twice in 1 year, last year and now, do you think they are taking a further hard line on their nuclear rights? Because in any case, the countries who have signed NPT, they don't feel any safer anymore. There is a review conference going on in New York at the moment where this is being debated, that the rearmament is going at a record high pace, and you expect some countries not to have a credible deterrence while some have it.
Another important point, because this is also what we are really afraid of, you can say, as regional maybe scholars, diplomats, experts. Because if some countries have some hesitations, or if they are always have some feelings that they are under threat to their national security, to their welfare, if you think from the Iranian side, I'm not an Iranian or I don't have any relative in Iran, but if I think from their side, think about this embargo years. I mean, years of years, I mean, there are important forces upon them, I mean, economically, as a soft power rhetoric, they are always banned from some things, I mean, from events, from some international organizations, even some now World Cup discussions we are nowadays having, I mean, they are attending or not. And if you think from such a line, this radicalization or marginalization are two important scenarios which are much more terrifying, especially in international politics. We also think this, like in the Russian case, but I think this Russian diplomacy or this classical style of this traditional maybe Russian policy making hinders something, just to not everything's like in a chaotic or catastrophic atmosphere. I think about this nuclear capacity of Russia after this Ukrainian war, for example. And because of this, Iranians are really irritated. We are knowing this. They are really under pressure. And we also know that they are somehow in a diplomatic capacity. Because Mr. Grossi, I mean, Rafael Grossi is important in Belgrade, in his atomic agency. They are also making collaborations, I mean, to have some reports, to some investigations independently in the Iranian soil territory. And we are really hoping that Iran will continue this cooperation with, first of all, of course, this atomic agency, and of course, with United Nations and with us, I mean, independent actors, Turkey, even Russia and China. We also want United States to join this collaboration, but I think Mr. Trump, and you said, Mr. Hexat and his cabinet, always chooses to some bold statements. I mean, we can come,
yeah,
we can
unilaterally walking out of JCPOA and just denying whatever reports are coming in from IAEA by Mr. Rafael Grossi himself. I mean, they're so unpredictable. My last question to you, the UN Secretary General says there are three scenarios if we talk about the economic conditions. Best case, growth drops if the Strait opens today, inflation rises, supply chains takes months to recover. Then there's 32 million more people going into poverty, 45 million more in extreme hunger. Worst case, a global recession by the end of the year. What is your reading? Is US bothered about it? Because if anything, Donald Trump should at least be bothered about his own voter.
This is the war of Strait. This is the war of Strait of Hormuz, we can call in from another line of thinking, because we already know that with bombing anywhere, I mean, you cannot also 100% hinder some nuclear capacity in a territory. I mean, because they have already some expertise, they have important collaborations with Russia. We know that. I mean, compared to United States, maybe Russian technology or Russian expertise is higher, I think, in somehow in the Soviet times and now in the Russian new systems. And we know that Iranians have an important collaboration already. And with this crisis, think about the new cooperations also with Russia and Iran, and possibly China will maybe contribute to this triangle alliance. And now we're coming to your question. Yes, of course, Mr. Trump and Mr. Hacksat and some other, Mr. Rubio, should have calculated this, of course, result, because it is very small and narrow geography. And in this narrow geography, the only critical point, maybe the most important critical point, is this Strait of Hormuz.
Yep.
And if they do not calculate, then there is only one option, that they really want a regional new chaotic atmosphere, which can maybe motivate some other actors to some leading actions. And the only actor I have in mind, especially after all these 3 years of atrocities, is Israel. I am sorry to tell that, but all these Gulf partners, all these maybe Saudi Arabia, Egypt, I mean Turkey, and also even the line that goes to Pakistan, we must be ready to such chaotic atmospheres, as also Mr. Guterres said, because Mr. Guterres is a very respectable, very trustable diplomat. We already know that. He also struggles to hinder, I mean, Israel's this atrocity and genocidal acts.
He has always stood with morality, always defended United Nations, always defended the peace. Thank you so much, Dr. Melih Demirtas.
He was declared as persona non grata by Israel, you know, since the outbreak of this Gaza war.
Absolutely. Just because he was siding with UN and peacekeeping, this is how he was treated. Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Melih, for joining us. It was a pleasure having you on our show. Tonight, the 3 stories we did were told from 3 different rooms, but they are all hitting the same audiences, the people. A president with a new strike options on his desk, a supreme leader writing a new chapter of the Strait of Hormuz, a Secretary General of UN telling the world the global economy cannot breathe. The Strait is treated as a leverage, and blockade is a tool to exploit that leverage. Whoever blinks first decides what kind of life the world is about to have. I am Zunaira Azhar, and until next week, good night.